nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk take the roll, please?
Rowe?
Here.
Morset?
Here.
O'Connell? Rademacher?
Here.
Wyland?
Here.
O'Malley?
Here.
Here.
At this point in our agenda, we take comments and suggestions from citizens present. Is there anybody that would like to address the council at this point? Anyone? Anyone? I'd like to, at this time, introduce our new chief of police, and maybe the existing acting chief can come up to the, because you're on TV, Jim, and you want to introduce him?
Just so that everybody knows, I'm Lieutenant Paul Larson, Hudson Police Department, and I would like to introduce Chief James Cohn. He arrived here last week. Monday was his first day, and he's taken over, and we've already had a department meeting, and everything is going real nice and smooth. He's from Whitewater, and I think he can tell you the rest. Mr. Cohn.
Thank you very much.
Well, good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor, council members, I wanted to again tell you what an honor and a privilege it is to be your chief of police, and also to take this opportunity to thank you for the confidence and trust that you've placed in me. I also wanted to thank you for your patience and indulgence in allowing me the time to make a transition from Whitewater to Hudson. It's been a great help in terms of being able to sell our house and now looking for a home here in Hudson. At the same time, I also wanted to extend my thanks to City Administrator Devin Willey for the kindness and support that he's extended to me and to my family. It's been very valuable, very helpful in recent weeks, and I wanted to again thank you, Devin. And at the same time, I wanted to acknowledge and commend Lieutenant Paul Larson for the outstanding job that he's done in his role as acting chief during this transition period. So with that, once again, thank you, and I look forward to working with you all. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Let's go to the consent agenda. And Madam Clerk, would you vocalize all those items for us?
To approve the regular meeting minutes of August 7th, 2006. To approve the closed session minutes of August 7th, 2006, and the special meeting minutes of August 17th, 2006. To approve claims for payment in the amount of $1,848,062. A detailed description is available in the clerk's office for inspection. To approve the issuance of regular operator's licenses for the period August 22nd, 2006 through June 30th, 2008 to Ruth Peterson, Hudson, Wisconsin, Christine Geiger, Glenwood City, Wisconsin, and to issue a temporary operator's license for September 16th and 17th, 2006 to Lori Gross, Hudson, Wisconsin. To approve the issuance of a temporary Class B retailer's license to sell beer and wine September 16th and 17th, 2006 at the annual Fall Fest held at St. Patrick's Church, 1500 Vine Street, Hudson, Wisconsin. To approve the bid of Consolidated Energy Co-op in the estimated amounts of $52,768 for Premier Diesel fuel and $83,636 for unleaded gasoline for the period September 1st, 2006 through August 31st, 2007. Okay. To place on file the quarterly reports of the Water Utility Director, the Police Department, and the Public Utility Commission minutes of August 8th, 2006. That is all.
What is your pleasure on the consent?
Move. Second.
Roll call vote.
Morset?
Yes.
O'Malley?
Yes.
Wyland?
Yep.
Cook? Yes. Rademacher?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Let's go to Finance Committee, item number 10, update on Miss Hudson pageant. Laura Foster. Thought we'd have you ladies open up such a wonderful meeting with such beauty.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm Laura Foster here on behalf of Barker's Bar and Grill, corporate sponsor of the Miss Hudson pageant. Wanted to thank you for hearing us this evening and for your support in 05 and hopefully your future support in 06. Our committee for 06 is comprised of myself, Krista Scheider, Kate O'Connell, Michael Solberg, Shannon McIntyre, James and Karen Watts, and we're pleased to be here working on this project. 2005 was a great year for the Miss Hudson program. The pageant was the first of its kind. As we discussed, it was professionally produced and it was a sold-out event attended by many local citizens and visiting royalty from the western Wisconsin and metro areas. In 2005, the Miss Hudson royalty aboard our Hudson Belle II earned 2 awards, the communities of Baldwin, and a real treat was winning first in their division at the very large Anoka Halloween Festival. So kudos to the parents. We had a very fabulous volunteer staff of parents that spent a lot of time and energy on that, and that's really a feather in their cap. We do have the outgoing Miss Hudson, Sarah Watts, here with her parents, James and Karen, and if it's all right with you, I'd like her to share a few words.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you for having me here tonight, and I would just personally like to say thank you to the Mr. Mayor and the City of Hudson for providing us a great year, and we had a lot of fun visiting other towns, and I would just like to say thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you. 2006 is off to a terrific start. Our pageant was on June 25th at the Phipps Center for the Arts. Again, it was professionally produced and sold out. We hosted a catered reception afterwards, and it was well attended, and I think everyone had a great time and was impressed with the production once again. This year, the Hudson royalty aboard their float have earned 2 awards already for the communities of Siren and Elmwood. So again, we're very proud of this year's royalty, and again, thank their families for their efforts in this endeavor. They are on track to attend over 40 parades and community events, and again, promoting interest in community service, volunteerism, and of course, being goodwill ambassadors to our beautiful city of Hudson. We do have the reigning Miss Hudson, Nicole Schmidt, here with her mother, Linda, and Princess Kristen Cassidy Calvo. And if Nicole could come up just for a moment and do a quick word as well, that would be great.
Wonderful.
Nicole.
Why don't you join her? You're going to be in. You're both on TV now.
Well, hello. Like Laura said, I'm Nicole Schmidt. I'm the new Miss Hudson for this year. And I would just like to thank the mayor and the council for giving me this opportunity to do this. It's been so much fun so far. Like she said, we won 2 parades already, which is amazing. So just thank you guys so much for having a great time. And I hope I'm doing a good job.
Very good.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. I'm sure you'll represent Hudson very well, and good luck on winning some more awards. And, you know, we have to thank the mothers and the fathers for the fantastic job that they do throughout the year, because it's really a lot of work. And nobody will argue with that, correct?
It was well worth it.
Well, absolutely.
I did want to note that we have made plans to launch a major fundraiser restoration of our vintage float. That seems to be the next issue at hand, and we are going to launch that campaign this fall with the guidance of Mary Ellen Paulson, who is longtime coordinator. So she is going to be giving us some fabulous advice and history of the Hudson Belle, and James and Karen Watts have generously agreed to chair this campaign. So we're very thankful that they'd like to continue their affiliation with the program, and we're hopeful to have a great event as far as looking forward to the future of the float, especially. And with that, I just want to thank you again for your support. We've got a great group of volunteers working on this project, and we certainly didn't want to see it go away last year, and we're really pleased with our year of 2005, and like I said, we're off to a great start with 2006. Barker's Bar and Grill has agreed to the corporate sponsorship, and we would ask the city for the same amount as last year as sponsor. I have provided a copy of our budget for your review, should you have any questions.
And the recommendation from finance is to approve the $2,500 for this year's pageant, and that will be monies taken out of the room tax.
I'll again move for approval.
Okay,
Second that motion.
any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you all for a fabulous job, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go back to number 5, review the quotes for purchase of computer system equipment. Mike Kruger. Mike, you can probably give the TV audience a executive summary on our proposal.
Yes, I'd be glad to. As we talked about a couple of council meetings ago, we proposed to purchase new servers and computer equipment to upgrade our systems in the city of Hudson. The quotation I gave you at that time was approximately $62,000 of what we thought it would cost. You asked us to go back and come up with where we're going to get the money from and estimates on the installation costs and the cost for maintenance. You have a copy of a spreadsheet here. The actual quotes came in about $500 less than what I'd told you, fairly close. And we received 3 quotes on the main systems, and I've put that down as MSI systems came in at the lowest cost, $36,735, plus they will include services that will involve technicians for several days at no charge to us. We have the total hardware costs with the additional hardware comes to about $46,000. Software, $12,800. Personnel consultation charges, $18,000. And the total cost of maintenance is about $12,000, but that'll be determined by when we take the old system out of service.
Mike, for the TV audience, why don't you just give a short summary of what this system is going to do over the old?
This system will remedy some deficiencies that we had and bring us into a modern network configuration. It will provide us security for our systems, for our information, additional security. It will provide us email security and the ability to manage all of our email and keep out unwanted intruders. It will provide us intruder detection. It will give us a system that will allow for more collaborative work, file sharing among employees of the city so that they can do their work more efficiently. It will provide for some workflow that will allow us to move work through the different departments more efficiently. And
Council have any questions of Mike?
Just for clarification for my purpose, this is not physically replacing everybody's office computer.
no,
This is centralizing and connecting everybody?
correct. This is not replacing the office computers. It's replacing our current IBM iSeries server with a new model, and it's replacing the police department's server and putting the ability to centrally manage our mail and actually all of our work systems. But it does not replace the equipment that the average worker has on their desks.
The upgrade cost is $76,485. Recommendation from finance is to take those monies out of unallocated fund balance of $340,000, which would leave $264,000 left. With that recommendation, a motion.
Devin?
Mayor, we're only short $21,000, and that's all we have to take out of the fund balance?
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
A portion of this will be given to the various departments.
Okay.
So the general fund, this is.
So it's $21,000 we're taking out of there?
Well, I'll move that we take $21,423.95 out of the unallocated fund
Yeah,
balance.
I think it's
to purchase-
21,424 or something.
Yeah, to purchase the systems as outlined by Mr. Kruger.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much for a great job, Mike. Let's go to,
6. Sorry, number 6.
come with that.
Sorry, I just want to make sure.
I'm not fast enough, or what? Review the fuel bid submitted for providing no-lead gasoline and fuel to city departments for the period of 9/1/06 to 8/31/07. There's not a recommendation from finance. There was a minor discussion on that particular bid and the cost of gasoline coming down. However, Administrator is saying that basically we do have to have some sort of contract by the 1st of September. Is that right, Jim?
I did briefly speak with Jim. One alternative would be to, at the end, if you wanted to push this off and try for a shorter contract or whatever, you know, we could make sure that we were full up at the end of August, which would get us into the September council meeting. That might be an alternative, but we'll need some direction what you would like to see if we can do.
Well, I think that's probably the only alternative we have at this point.
Right.
So let's just fill up the tanks and coast as long as we can.
But we still will need a contract of some kind.
Well,
are we looking
I
for a
thought you were
shorter
going to fill up
term?
by August 31st.
Right,
We're
but-
under a contract till August 31st, aren't we?
Right, but we still have to do something after that.
Well, if it
Sure.
keeps coming down, it'll be in our
Well,
advantage.
Right, but
Well,
should we look, are you guys interested in shorter contracts, or do you just want to hold off and see if we can get a lower bid in September? For a full year, for 6 months, for 3 months, just so we have some direction?
You know, I agree with what you're both saying. I would, but how, we can't control what that market's gonna do. One bomb goes off in the Middle East and it's gonna go up. I mean, is this the best we're gonna get? It could go both ways.
Well, we realize that, but the basis is that it's been coming down.
Yeah.
The crude oil has been coming down every week.
One of the things we may want to look at is the way the contract, I know it's written because historically it's happened, it has been adjusted up, and I think one of the things we want to do is it
the
should be
other-
both ways. So if it goes down X amount, we can, reap some of the benefit of that as well.
I'd like to see us look at that suggestion.
All right.
Everybody in agreement?
I have one question. Last year, how did we do? What price did we lock in at last year?
I don't remember. It was obviously less than this, but.
I'm just kind of curious, because we probably locked in at lower coming up, so we probably.
Oh, it was
did
quite a bit
pretty well
lower.
last year.
Oh, yeah.
The problem we have with these quotes right before us today is that we can go downtown and guess cheaper than this.
True.
So we don't want to lock in at these prices.
No. Right. Let's just
Hold it over, and
hold it over. Okay, is that okay, council?
Jim and I'll work
Jim,
together.
you can work with
And I
that.
guess,
Deb on that?
take a look at it, and if we need to rebid, I suspect we will need to get on that right away so that we can have some verbiage in there for a adjuster up, escalator up or down.
Well, one alternative might be to go back to them and say, we understand this is the price now, but you'll pass the cost if it goes up. Is there any adjustments, and see if
Right.
maybe we can work it into this existing contract. So, okay.
Very good. Let's go to number 8. Issues regarding the replacement of 1990 fire department tanker truck. Chief Fry will give us a request information.
Yeah. The fire department's long-range capital purchase plan called for a replacement of a 1990 tanker in 2007. At April's meeting of the Hudson Area Joint Fire Advisory Board, the board approved the purchase of a 3,200-gallon tanker for 2007. In the process of preparing plans and specifications for that tanker, some issues came up. I took these issues back to the advisory board at July's meeting, and after their review, they again approved the purchase of a custom chassis 3,200-gallon tanker for 2007. The budgetary part of it is preliminary estimates of the tanker around 385,000. With that costs being split out amongst the other entities over a 10-year period. The city more than likely will have to bond for this purchase. It takes around 12 months to complete the project, with the first payment due when the chassis arrives sometime around eight or 9 months.
What's the advantage of ordering it now?
The advantage of ordering it now is in 2007, there's new emission standards that go into effect. And at this point, we can still purchase a custom chassis with the 2006 emissions, thus saving about $15,000 in the emissions package alone. Normally I would hold this until, budget process time, but because of the $15,000 savings, I thought it was worthy to bring it to your attention at this time.
Have they in the past made us bring up these things to a certain level after the fact?
No, they
In other words, will it cost us 20 grand a year from now to correct that particular situation?
No, they haven't, because that would be the entire fleet, and I mean, the economic impact to that would be enormous, because we're talking, not only our fire apparatus, but all trucks, if they would do that.
So if it's under the blanket, we're okay, huh?
Right.
Any questions?
You have till September 15th to place an order, correct?
Right. Well, and I talked to Catherine today, and we probably could squeeze that till a council meeting on the 18th if we needed to.
Yeah.
They're going to put it out for bid.
Right.
Well, I think if we hold that over until we get some idea of what we're going to do on our total bonding, we might be in a better position, but it's whatever the council thinks. But think that's a pretty good idea, Betty?
I think if we can meet with the department heads and get some kind of idea what they're gonna do.
For a total, because don't you have a limit this year on bonding?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion, in order the time frame, I might suggest that maybe you authorize the bids. We can always reject them. Authorize the advertisement, and we can always reject them.
That's true.
Jim, you have to have the chassis by the end of May, is that correct?
It has to be
to
delivered.
qualify for the 2006
Right.
emissions. And it takes 8 months, so we're cutting it pretty close here.
Right.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Move that we advertise for bids, that we first of all approve purchase of this, should the bids come in where we need them, and advertise for bids on this vehicle.
Is there a second?
Approve. I don't think you can approve it
You
until.
should separate it out.
Okay, well then, why don't we just go with advertise for bids?
Delaying is
Yeah.
to
Are we okay
decide on
with
the
just
purchase.
advertising for bids?
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, it's just advertise.
Any further discussion? That okay with you? Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item is number 9, use of the 1066 Fire Act grant funds for the fire department education materials. There's a recommendation from finance to okay those funds for that purchase. Do you want to explain that to the TV audience? Just give us a...
Sure will. As part of the exhaust removal system grant from the federal government, the bids came in under what the original projected or what we had applied for. So therefore, we took and made an amendment to our original grant application and applied for public education materials. There's approximately $9,000 or so left over. I don't like giving money back if I don't have to. So anyway, we applied for those funds, and we did receive those. I'm just asking for $1,066 of matching funds to match the federals.
Our recommendation from finance is to go ahead with that.
So moved.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Let's go to the back page, update on health insurance. We did get a communique from Devin. Want to make some highlights from that particular communique?
We did not receive any quotes. A few reasons led to that. Two of the individuals that had requested the bid packet did not submit a quote because their carriers did not feel they could meet the same level of benefit that we currently have. And as I explained before, anything we do would have to meet with, has to be substantially equivalent to what we have now. So their concern was what they could provide wouldn't meet that, so what was the point of even submitting quotes? Two other ones had requested health information forms, and we had some lack of cooperation with a handful of employees. And without that information, they were unable to give us a quote. Jack and I and staff discussed, well, can we discipline and what can we do? And that was a possibility. However, it would have put us past the, because I'm sure whatever we would have done would have been grieved. It would have put us past the October 1st due date. My recommendation right now, so there's nothing to act on tonight. My recommendation is that we request that the contracts be reopened to address this health insurance issue. Whether it be we request that the employees start paying more towards their health insurance, whether we request that the unions require their employees to assist us, that they have to fill out the health information forms and provide some type of, penalty, if you will, if they don't do it. The problem we had this time is the contract didn't address that, and it was real fuzzy about what we could do and couldn't do, so. So that's my recommendation, and that's just something that, if it meets everybody's approval, that I can get started on. We'll have our quotes next week, if not by the end of this, or for 2006, we'll know what our health insurance will be. We've heard rumblings, it won't be too bad, but I don't know what too bad means, so, compared to what it has been, so.
You mean from the state plan?
Yeah. Let's take a look at it when we get that information.
If we're able to get the other handful of people to submit their forms relatively quickly, would we still have time if this is brought up on the September 5th meeting? Could we come to that timing issue with the unions?
Well, the downside, we certainly could do that, and I have continued to encourage the employees to get them in, strongly encourage them, but the problem is that now we're within how many days of, and I have no guarantees that if I didn't get, and it's just a handful, I just want to emphasize that. If I'm concerned then about the cooperation of it even being reviewed in a timely manner so it was an extremely frustrating experience. I didn't realize it would be.
Wouldn't it be advantageous for us to have a letter to the people who did not cooperate on file indicating that we have requested this information? This could be helpful in future negotiations or discussions with the unions. And if the council think that's okay, we'll send them a letter.
I move to authorize Devin to take the steps he just outlined.
I'll second that. I think we do need to let the unions know we will reopen the contracts, and that they should let the handful of people to let them know that they need to get this forms filled out pronto.
And they did speak to, which I indicated here, the police, the patrol unit, business agent, their representative, and he told them to do it. So we're not meeting resistance necessarily from the union people at the state level. It was at the local level. So
individuals.
Correct. Yeah. And again, just some few individuals.
But that was a second to his motion.
Yes.
What is the process that's taken to, when you say request to reopen? Is that something that?
I believe, I've never done this. I believe our labor, we'll get a hold of our labor attorney, who in turn will contact the business agents and request that the contract be reopened to address this one issue. Reopen of a contract can be for a number of different things. If we need to reorganize the city and we're going to create positions that aren't in the contract, for example, that would be another reason you could reopen the contract. The Public Works and clerical contract is expiring at the end of 2007. So we will, even if this doesn't pan out as quickly, we will have two contracts expiring at the end of 2007. So it's basically just a request. We need to talk about this. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Well, it has to be negotiated.
No, it'll be on the agendas for the future.
Right. And as I explained to Jack, when we start negotiating into 2007 and 2008, health insurance has got to be the first issue to get resolved, and then everything else is going to follow along, because, you know, and it's not just us. Chippewa Falls, I got a phone call from the administrator there, and they're going through the same thing right now, so.
We'll take these steps, we'll tell them we're gonna reopen the contracts, tell them that they need to have their individuals that haven't filled these forms fill them out. Kind of go from there, I guess.
Well, yeah, and again,
Make the
without
early
the
date.
language in the contract, it's fuzzy as to what, we can keep telling them to fill it out, but I'm not sure what our alternative is if they don't, so.
But at least we'll have it on file. Any other discussion or comments? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. New business, review and approve the designs for the Riverwalk Park Shelter and authorize advertising for bids. Angela, you want to give us executive engineering summary?
Actually, at the very last page of your packet is the revised layout of the park shelter. We had a few meetings, design meetings, regarding what features needed to go into the park shelter and the placement of the park shelter, and I think we're getting close. As you can see, there's the restroom, there's 3 drawings, basically. You have the location plan, a schematic drawing of what it's going to look like, and then just a park shelter layout. And the layout shows the restroom facilities, drinking fountain, and then the park benches that could be placed in that facility. A few different things going on here. The placement of the park shelter, we've placed it basically on the existing Dike Road, and it extends a little into the beach area. We had to put it in that location to minimize the amount of fill and that the DNR would let us do without going through a whole huge permit process. So the location is where it's going to be. So there's not a whole lot of room to shift it one way or another, and we've kind of found that out when we did our on-site visit. But
how's the surface stabilization of the land that you're going to put this on? Because it's getting closer and closer to the water, and how about the high level and flood time? Will that completely...
You are below the 100-year high water level.
Okay.
So that is not a concern. The existing toll shed, the existing toll building actually was right in this location. You can see the old foundation right in that location. We are having soil borings, hopefully. I was hoping they were today, but I have not seen them out there today. So hopefully one of these next days, they're going to take soil borings to verify exactly what material is there, but I guess I have a very positive outlook on it, seeing that there was a building there previously for obviously many, many years. So I've also handed out, let me find it and I can show you what I'm looking at, but a sheet just before council that has the cost estimate of the park shelter itself. And this is for the park shelter construction only. But as you see, the cost estimate's approximately $260,000. So with that, I don't know what else, any other questions, or Paul, did you want to?
Need a motion to approve the designs and authorize advertisements.
I'll move that we approve the design and authorize advertisement for bids.
Second.
Discussion? I did have a comment. I was in the meeting the other evening where Rotary indicated that they have deposited the $50,000, their portion, at the First National Bank, but I did notice also there's about a $20,000 bill for design. And I think that half of this should be taken from city funds and the other half from the Rotary 50,000. Does everybody kind of agree with that?
That's fine.
I had one, is that the best place for the trash enclosure? I liked it better on the drawing of 818, more away from that.
Well, that would be ideal, but the shelter has to go as proposed and revised.
It has to?
It has to go there, yes.
The only place there's land.
Which takes away that access to where that dumpster is. It actually, and this will be revised a little bit more, the shelter, or not the shelter, but the dumpster that you see on this map will actually be more to the
North and east.
northeast.
There's,
There'll be space between the shelter and where the dumpster's gonna be.
if you go out to the end, you'll actually see a little to the north and east, there's a clump of trees that we're hoping to utilize as somewhat of a natural barrier, natural cover on this dumpster, and it also will provide a little more room for dump trucks to get in and out to make the turn to go around.
Part of the issue is with moving that north, I guess north and east, will provide us with the ability to have a hammerhead in there such that the garbage trucks can turn around, because as they're set up here, fine, they can get in there, but they're gonna have to back all the way down. That isn't gonna work. We need to. And then secondarily, it has the benefit of moving the trash enclosure a ways away from the picnic area, just aesthetically better.
But as Paul was commenting on, the DNR is very particular about the placement of this and the amount of excess fill that's required. They would like to have this on as much of the natural ground as possible and limit the amount of fill in the riverway.
Yeah, we got our marching orders on that, to have
that's
the
the
minimum
problem.
amount of fill. And that basically, once you have that, then you know the size of the building, you know where it's gonna go.
Any other questions or comments?
I actually have a question regarding any conversation that the park board might have had. Originally, when this was originally explained, I thought it would be totally enclosed, so that, like an old toll house, so that it could be locked at night. And we do have quite a bit of open area here, which I think has the potential to become an attractive nuisance. We have a lot of boaters who like to camp out all weekend on that island, and that's already a problem, and they may see this as the city having been nice enough to build them a picnic place. Has there been any discussion about that at all? Like not allowing boaters to do what they've been doing there, or it's just a potential problem that I see that I'd like to circumvent before it becomes a problem. I don't know if Park Board has talked about, I'm not on Park Board, so I don't know.
As far as closing the shelter?
No, just what do we do about keeping, the situation now is, by Friday afternoon, that island at that point is filled with boaters who stay there all weekend, and they may view this as their picnic shelter and be there all the time, so that our own Hudson citizens find no place to picnic.
Right. Well, we're hoping to work with the police chief and on some type of enforcement strategy out there.
Good. Jim, deep into the pool right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you bolting down?
I want Jim to get comfortable for a couple weeks.
Yeah, for at least an hour or two.
Are you bolting down those tables, or those?
Everything will be
things that
bolted
can move
down.
through the sand,
That's correct. Everything will be bolted down. All the fixtures in the bathrooms and everything will be vandal-proof as much as possible. Automatic flushes, automatic washes, et cetera, things like that. So a lot of thought has gone into the design is to make it as vandal-proof as possible. Lights will be recessed, so people can't really grab things and move them. It's kind of the philosophy. Outside of graffiti, I think that's pretty much all we can really do at this time.
Can we lock the restrooms at 11 o'clock when the park closes?
We decided not, or we could, I guess, but I don't know if we can.
Worry about vandalism.
Do that.
Inviting more problems that way?
I don't know if we can. I think we have to leave it open 24/7.
I think we can lock them. I think
could lock it,
the
but-
issue gets to be is, to lock them, then somebody's gonna have to run out and physically lock them. I mean, that isn't the end of the world. Yeah, another thing for me to do, okay. But, I guess, what I was more concerned with is if we do lock them, I think we're probably gonna be subject to more vandalism.
Okay.
Because folks are gonna go up there and be aggravated that they aren't open and available for them to use, than the vandalism we'll have of leaving them open 24 hours.
Although they're used to using the outdoor one now.
Yes,
so-
yeah, as you can tell when you're south of the island.
Trying to curtail that maybe by giving them a place to actually go to the bathroom, that might help some of that.
Good luck.
We authorized the no boat parking on that section. Has that relieved some of the pressure on that island or not?
Actually, it has. We haven't gotten the signs up,
The
but the
signs
word has
aren't
gotten
up
out. And there's been northeast side has remained relatively open.
Okay, well, that should alleviate some of your concerns. It's not-
Yes, I think we should play it by ear and see how it goes. We don't know what's going to happen there. This is going to be a great pavilion, and really, it's going to do an additional thing, I believe, which is take us closer to actually facing the issue of how to deal with unwanted boaters on those islands, which we're going to have to deal with sooner or later.
Right.
So why not now?
It's going to be a constant vigilance, I think.
Oh, absolutely. But I think if you hand out a few citations that cost, $145 each, people catch the message pretty fast.
Or 200.
It's going to have great views out there on both, 3 out of the 4 sides where this is laid out, and I think it's just going to be an excellent addition down there.
Very good. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. We've got, let's see,
Do you want to do update?
Angela's update.
I was gonna say, while I'm up here, you want to do update on projects? I just want to I'll make this quick. I just want to go over actually some of the few public projects. I'll come back to the triple left turn lane. I'm going to go Hanley Road Storm Sewer. They are starting this Wednesday. That Zappa Brothers had gotten the contract, so you'll see some traffic control and that project beginning. The Riverwalk project, as we just talked, hopefully soil borings will come in the very near future. Along with this park shelter, we also had previously gotten authorization for the lighting and then the utilities as part of it. Let's see, other than that, most of the other projects the private projects are moving along, as always. Triple left turn lane, I did hand out to you a memo from Bryant showing you the checklist that he's gone through, also showing you the turning movements, the existing intersection as it is today, and then the proposed intersection as it would be with the triple left turn lane. The remaining, or the outstanding item is the cost, and he is still trying to find cost for the mast arm is going to be one of the big ticket items, and then there's also some revisions to this northern median along Carmichael that if you look at the turning movements, you'll see that needs to be revised because if a truck in the inside lane turns, it will cut across that median. So some revisions need to be done to that median, which means moving a signal pole and adjusting the catch basin. So
That'll be another item for a bonding.
So it's not going to be your simple
Whenever
striping.
you get it,
Yep.
give it to Devin and
I will do
Betty.
that. So if there's any other questions?
I had a question on Walnut.
I got-
that,
Yes.
Give us a
Walnut
little
and
summary
Sixth?
of what happened there, because as you come down the street on Sixth Street, I see
Yes.
a storm receptacle there, and it's,
Yes.
tell us about that.
Actually, it happened at the same time. It actually was the Water Utility Department had added that portion in. When they flushed their hydrant, that's right there, they put it down into an existing catch basin that was right there. That catch basin was very old. It had nothing left, and it was flooding. The water would then flood down the roadway
Down at that house down here.
down at, yes, across the median or over the hillside, I guess. And so they were receiving some complaints and didn't want to cause any problems. So I believe out of their budget, they replaced the catch basin at the top and made more of a valley area. So it actually
What is the
really
capacity
improved.
of that stormwater area that you created?
The capacity, I know the underneath is only still a 15-inch pipe, 12 or 15-inch
Oh,
pipe,
okay.
so you do kind of have
So
some
when it
restriction
fills up, they
under.
stop the hydrant, right?
I'll let Jim know.
Huh?
Wintertime, we wouldn't have any choice.
No, but I mean,
No.
that's the basis of it, isn't
And
it?
it will,
Summertime, I'll still let it go down, we'll still let it go down
But you-
roadway, because there's curbing there now and everything, and did a nice job.
But you'll be able to open the hydrants, put the water into that storm water without
Yep.
pushing the water down Wall Street, or Walnut.
It's going to collect a majority of the water, so it will help. And also on the opposite side, on the south side of the roadway, where it flows to, they dug out a ponding area, basically. So a lot of that water will then infiltrate in. Yep.
Everything's fine all the way down Walnut to your satisfaction.
And then as you go down, yep, they completed the entire project, put erosion control. You'll
Curbing.
notice it's much narrower, so.
Yes, I
it's-
noticed that.
we narrowed it up to secure that hill. So if we had a little more space and a little more stability to hold the road and also make sure that no erosion would happen down that hillside.
It's a good upgrade.
I did want to mention one more thing while you brought it, the retiming. I had some comments on the signal timing at Crestview and Carmichael. There was some backups occurring, and so I did have Bryant Fysick from our office go look at the retiming. He did tweak it a little, but there's the interconnect between the signals that make them all work together is acting up, and so I guess on an annual basis, the city has those inspected, so he will go out with their inspectors and make sure that those are working, but he said with the extra signal now at Center Drive, that added a little different timing, so.
I must have been lucky, because I went through there and hit them all the other day.
Yep, so
Going
he
south.
worked on it a little, and he will
Tell 'em to
continue
keep
to
at it.
upgrade it,
It's
yes.
the biggest complaint area we have.
The only question I
Yeah,
had
go ahead.
on the triple left turn lane is that new proposed left turn, you have either going straight or left. Would it be better just to have
Yes.
it left, or is just a left turn lane, or is there a reason for both?
No, you do need that, well,
Does it have to be both?
yes, you have to have both as far as additional capacity going straight through, and the opposite, the east side of Stage Line also has the accepting of 2 lanes, so we've made it a straight and through on that
Okay.
middle one. We can look at alternate. The one thing with that also, I believe, then you have to start splitting the phasing, so you'd allow only one leg to go, and then once they are done, then you allow the other legs, so it's nice to have through flow at the same time to double up some of your flows. That makes sense.
Thank you. Any more questions of Angela? Thank you very much. Communications and the recommendation of the mayor, I don't have anything specific now, but before we go into closed session, communications and items for future agendas without discussion. Any alderperson?
I would like to make an announcement that after trying to find a needle in a haystack, I finally found the right person at Singular. And for those business leaders and community leaders who have maybe changed venues for your power lunches from away from downtown Hudson, because then you couldn't be reached on your Singular cell phone, within 10 days, we will have full power. The antenna, which is in place, will be connected and operating with its transmitter. So Singular service will return to all of downtown Hudson by the end of August.
City Attorney?
Yeah, just a couple things. You asked last meeting for the research underlying that Iowa County Attorney statement on the sexual predator ordinance, and I have 2 studies available, and I'll give them to Nancy, one from Minnesota, one from Colorado, and so anyone who would like to have a copy can get a copy. They're, pretty thick. So the other thing is, I've been in contact with Department of Corrections people, and at the first meeting in September, hopefully we'll have a probation officer and the person out of Eau Claire who is in charge of the state registry here to explain the existing system and answer any questions and provide information on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
City Administrator?
Just a couple of things. We received our preliminary tax levy increase information today. We're down to 3% this year. Last year we were at 8%, which is going to amount to somewhere between 120 and 150,000. We won't have our final numbers till early, which is all we can increase our levy by.
Could you repeat that in case somebody didn't hear it?
Between 120 and 150,000 dollars. We're not even positive that's going to cover what we already have agreed to on our contracts with salaries and the life and health insurance. So those should have more information mid-September. We'll have the budgets in. But just so everybody understands, there's going to be some decisions to be made, how we're going to deal with this, but.
Thank you, Matt.
The other thing is that, just a reminder, there is a primary on September 12th and a November 7th, correct, Nancy, is the general? And we encourage people that have not registered to vote to get down here ahead of time to do that, because that'll save them time on Election Day, rather than doing it on Election Day, and can speed things along. So they can come and do that at any time. That's it.
Okay. Anything else? Let's go to 11, consider convening into closed session pursuant to 19.851C Wisconsin Stats to discuss possible compensation for the interim police chief.
So moved.
Roll call vote.
O'Malley?
Yes.
Rademacher?
Yes.
Cook? Yes. Wyland?
Yes.
Morset?
Yes.
Okay, we're in closed session. Let's close the doors and